So, DRDO's AAD phase program has been quite successful, but this program is to counter threat coming from say around 2000 kilometer range missile, but we have a threat from our northern adversaries and which can fire ICBM or IRBM weapon. So, do we have any program in place to counter such a threat like ICBM, IRBM, or do you also have any program like AAD phase 2, and if it is there, then where are you going to test it?
See, our ballistic missile defense program consists of two phases.
So,
Phase 1, we are developing capabilities to intercept missiles up to the range of 2000 kilometers.
so
In phase 2, we will be intercepting missiles beyond that.
beyond what range?
Beyond 2000 kilometers, 5000 plus, and so on. So that our immediate area we are taking adequate protections. Now that development requires that you should be able to detect at a longer distance, you should be able to intercept at a larger distance, and your missiles should be highly agile. That work is going on, so we expect that within a year or so we should be able to test that class
within
of
a year or
systems.
so, the phase 2 of AAD can be tested.
Yes, but there are a little few problems.
So,
Today, unfortunately, India has got only one missile range.
yeah.
So in that missile range, we can fire only one type of missile, because today if you see all the missiles are tested between Balasore and or Wheeler Island.
Wheeler Island, yes.
So we don't have any other geometry to test it. It's necessary that India should develop some more ranges from which we can test this class of system.
Is there any work going on in this
So
direction?
we are identifying certain areas which can be used, which have a separation distances of
In
more than
south of
1000
India?
plus 1000 plus kilometers within the Indian territory, of course, so that we can simulate the 5000 kilometers, 3000 kilometer range missiles. Because I must have that kind of velocity, I must have that kind of inclination angles, the
Yes.
paths to be able to really test. So we are working on development of alternate ranges and then go with the.
So that means the phase 2 can be tested only after a new range is identified and developed, or can it be tested from the existing range also?
From the existing range alone it cannot be tested.
Okay.
Okay. We must have an alternate range. Alternate range can be on ground or it can be a floating range, but ideally you should have both.
Both.
That is the type of capability which needs to be created as a national initiative to make it happen fast.
And single missile range is otherwise also very vulnerable, because if your missile range is at one particular place, in case of any war or something, it can be a target, easy target.
Right.
So are you also looking from that point of view also?
That is also one of the criteria, that we must have alternatives, we must have options. And India is a huge country, relatively speaking, not as big as China, not as US, but today if you see major countries have multiple ranges.
Yes.
Many of these have US, China, they have got 7 ranges and so on. India is the only country having only one range of this class.
Of this class.
We have very small ranges like Pokhran and all, but they are for much smaller weapons, not of this class. We need to have some more ranges, and we are working on it. I think the requirement and necessity has been acknowledged, and the work is going on to identify suitable places and how to develop them.
So some critics have raised questions over the effectiveness of AAD phase 1, and often they compare it with the PAC 3 or THAAD systems. So what's your comment on that?
The comparisons are always slanted.
Right.
So let us not look at comparisons. But if you see purely the success record of our, we have had 6 tests so far, and all 6 have fully met their objectives and intercepted. In the last case, we had simulated scenarios of multiple missiles coming also. Once we get the new ranges, I will be able to simulate the missiles coming from 2 totally different directions also. So, I think the program has matured well and is capable of doing its job, intercepting the missiles very well. When you compare 2 systems, there will always be strengths, there will always be relative these things, but I don't think we are. In fact, I am very confident that our system fully meets and is comparable with the best in the world, and in some matters it's far better than PAC.
Great. And so, no spacefaring country except India has shown antipathy towards the military use of space. And unfortunately, till today we don't even have a aerospace command. And the threat and importance of the space is growing day by day. So, do you think there is a need for an aerospace command which can consist of all the stakeholders, including DRDO?
First of all, military use of space has been going on for a long time.
Yes.
By all nations. It is in terms of the gathering intelligence, gathering imagery for the military use. That has been a standing. People tracking the ballistic missile launches from space, those capabilities have been developed. So, military use of space has been available for all countries and is being extensively
used. But
used.
not India, because India has always shied away. I don't think there is any dedicated satellite for military use, except I think the Israeli made.
Why we should have dedicated satellites? If you have a multi-use satellite, that is a better option. That's not issue. Issue is, are we getting the required inputs from the what we need? Okay. And I am sure we are getting what we need. Okay. As far as the aerospace command is concerned, you are right. I think the country needs now, with the expanding scope of space security issues, with the expanding need, and if you see the world over, the space and the civil space and the defense space are 2 independent segments, whether it is US, Russia or anywhere. So, I think it is a opportune time to think of a national aerospace command which should integrate many of these initiatives and bring them to fore.
And should it be with the armed forces itself, or all the stakeholders should have some participation in it?
See, as far as the command is, all stakeholders will have to play a role. That I don't think any doubt should be there in anybody's mind. Finally, who controls it, that is more of a policy decision, and we will leave it to the policy makers.
So, this Nag missile tests have been going on for quite some time, and the user has not been able to accept it fully, and its air version, that is Helena, is also I think under trial. So, when are these 2 systems will be ready for induction, and what are the issues that it's getting so late?
See, Nag is one program where we started when we were not mature in some of the critical technologies. It has gone through a turbulent phase, because when we initiated the missile, we didn't have any phased array seeker. We thought we'll be able to develop, but for some reasons it could not be done. By the time we could get some seekers from some place, it was already a lot of time had elapsed, and now evaluation of those seekers, we have a unique environment in our desert.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the kind of temperature variations, the kind of humidities that occur in our deserts. Normally deserts are very dry. Our deserts are not that dry. but the temperatures still vary quite a lot. So those seekers we found are not adequate. We need to have higher resolution. Now we have, that came out only when we started testing. Okay. We had initially very good tests, in fact about 10 missiles had put dot on it on the tanks, front attacks, top attack, all the modes which are possible. But then we found that certain periods of the day it's not very effective. Now we are working on, along with our use services also, we are working with better seekers. We are hoping, we are going to try it out in this summer, and if that is successful, we'll have next year we'll have the full-fledged trials of the missiles with the modified
there was
seekers.
some issue with the launcher also, the size of the launcher.
Size of the launcher is not really an issue because we have now made the launcher which meets all the amphibian requirements, and
that is
Namika. There were some issues during the trials, but these are anyway trial issues. So they will be rectified. They are got rectified, and they will go for the tests again.
So can we expect that the Nag missiles and Helena will be ready for induction, say in a couple of years' time, or it may be?
We are expecting by 2014 Nag missile should be ready for offering it for induction. Our confidence is when it comes, it will be one of the most effective anti-tank missiles with its class of weight range.
But the user can't wait that long. They may have to go for acquisition from abroad.
The user has got its own plans to acquire. There is nothing. But today, so far, it has not been able to acquire. We have not. DRDO development has not been the issue and impediment and user getting the best of the weapons in any case, from anywhere.
So you are sure that this Nag missile program will be a success?
I am very confident. I am very confident that we will be able to overcome the issues in Nag as it is, and then we are also working on a higher version of Nag for future with much lower weight and should be able to be launched from different much lighter platforms,
So what is the time
including
frame?
man-pads. That should be, if the project gets sanctioned, it should come within about 2 years from that time.
2 years. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and wish you all the best for your future
Thank you.
ventures. Thank you.
Thank you.